Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the African Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this program, we'll bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to your programs today. My name still remains Patrick Abambo. We'll go every length to bring it to you wherever it's happening. During the week, the sad incident of the death of a friend of this program, a retired AIG, Ikeme Funaokoye. It's so sad because to some people who know him, he's known as the gentle giant, even though he's not a very large man, but because he's very gentle and yet very firm. He's an instructor and a teacher. So many officers learned from him and benefited from him. Security Watch Africa particularly interacted and worked with him closely while he was the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State between 2010 to 2014. And he really made sure that criminals do not have their way in Ogun State. And it's so sad that we lost him during the week. We pray that his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. And it's good that the police are also mourning him because he had left great legacies in the Nigeria police and security sector in Nigeria. Yes, we'll go to, again, it's a cheering news. Another friend of Security Watch Africa, Lieutenant Colonel Zando Danjuma. It's has written a book. In fact, Zando Danjuma, I would say, is a literary master, and he's with the Nigerian Army. He wrote a book titled, like you can see, Civil Military Relations in the Nigerian Army. And this book will be presented to the public officially on the 20th of January 2024. In fact, it's a book that people must get if you need to know what is happening between the military and the civil populace. It's an important book, and Security Watch will also be there. But let's go to the program of today. We have a lineup of two reports from the Nigerian Army and from Nigerian Air Force, and then we'll be discussing our topic for today, which is security in the Southeast. What can the Nigerian Army do? Because it seems that Southeast security is now being left to the military to handle, and that shouldn't be, really. But we'll need to look at what the Nigerian Army can do to ensure that sanity is restored to the Southeast. Yes, but before then, let's take you to the Nigerian Army headquarters, where Shuli Daniels brings a report on one of the important activities of the Chief of Army Staff. Sit back.
In line with his command philosophy, which is to transform the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped, and highly motivated force towards achieving its constitutional responsibilities within a joint environment, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja, has continuously worked out ways to motivate his officers, soldiers, and their family members. Since assumption of office, General Lagbaja has continued to ensure that welfare of his personnel is a priority, and he has initiated many projects and plans towards ensuring that the needs of officers and soldiers are provided. To motivate troops during the last Yuletide season, the Chief of Army Staff visited some Nigerian Army locations to encourage the personnel. In one of the locations he visited, Ginya Barracks in Sokoto State, he not only had lunch with the troops, he personally served them.
My camera.
I want to congratulate the troops for making it this far into the year and for weathering every storm that came our way. As we celebrate this Christmas and the New Year season, I want to take a moment to express my genuine respect and heartfelt gratitude to our gallant troops for their unwavering dedication and sacrifice in ensuring the safety and security of our great nation, Nigeria. I commend your courage and resilience in the face of adversity, and I salute your undying faith in the Nigerian state. It is a fact that so many of our colleagues cannot even make it down from the front line to come to Sokoto and celebrate the Christmas holiday with their loved ones in person. This is not because they do not want to, but because they are duty bound across difficult to access towns, villages, and hamlets, and beyond. They have the responsibility to stand on guard while other families rejoice and celebrate together, sometimes not knowing how similar celebrations are going on in the barracks and our cantonments. To our gallant warriors, I say thank you for your sacrifice and dedication to duty. Judging by the policies and unfolding programs of the federal government, the year ahead holds a lot of prospects for Nigeria and the military in particular. In the coming year, the Nigerian Army expects to take delivery of its helicopter and other combat enablers that will see a better security environment develop across the country.
As one of the indicators of a responsible leadership, the Army Chief's gesture helps to motivate the troops towards going extra miles to ensure that his command philosophy is fulfilled. Shuli Daniels, reporting for Security Watch Africa.
Yes, I think making the troops to feel home away from home is very important, and it helps to motivate them not to totally miss what is happening at home, even as they fight to protect you and me. We must say kudos to the Army leadership for that. Yes, let's cross over to the Nigeria Air Force headquarters, where some officers who were recently promoted were decorated. Security Watch Africa was there, and Elizabeth Tanko brings this report.
Promotion is a reward for hard work, diligence, and loyalty. Recently, the Nigerian Air Force witnessed the promotion of a total of 38 senior officers to their new ranks. 22 of them were promoted from the rank of Air Commodore to Air Vice Marshal, while 16 of them were promoted from the rank of Group Captain to Air Commodore. One of the beneficiaries promoted from Air Commodore to Air Vice Marshal was the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, now Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet. At the close of 2023, they were decorated with their new ranks at the Nigerian Air Force Conference Center in Abuja, with the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawale, as the special guest of honor. The minister, while congratulating the newly promoted officers, charged them to redouble their efforts in the service to the nation to justify their new ranks.
Let me repeat that promotion comes with greater expectation and responsibility. Therefore, while the fanfare and jubilation continues, do not lose sight of the ongoing fight against terrorism, banditry, and other all forms of criminality. Invariably, your mandate as generals is to successfully execute all sorts of operations necessary to preserve national security and its territorial integrity. Hence, it is expected that your uplifting to the rank of Air Commodores and Air Vice Marshals will redouble your effort to discharge your duty so we can quickly end all security threats in our dear nation, Nigeria.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who was the chief host, urged the officers to continue to display selfless service and competence in their duties.
Having been recognized by this elevation and bearing in mind the enormous investments in your training and exposure, you all must put on your thinking caps and chart workable strategies in our quest to transform the Nigerian Air Force into an agile and resilient force that effectively meets the air power demands of national security in all operational environments. You will also be required to continue to display exceptional integrity, selfless service, and commitment to excellence, which will ensure that the Nigerian Air Force records outstanding results in every area of competence and translate to successes in the various theaters of operations, with the resultant improvement in security for our people across the country.
Air Marshal Abubakar reminded them that failure is not an option because they cannot afford to fall short of expectations of all Nigerians.
You must remember that we cannot afford to fall short of the expectations of all Nigerians. I therefore urge you all to bear in mind that failure should never be an option, so long as your determination to succeed remains strong.
One of the promoted officers, Air Vice Marshal Suleiman Usman, gave a vote of thanks on behalf of other beneficiaries.
Our deepest appreciation goes to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, for finding us worthy of these elevations and for his unwavering support, guidance, and commitment to the advancement of our dear Air Force.
Elizabeth Tanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, we'll go straight now to our discussion today. First, let's congratulate our dear friend there that got decorated now. It's an AVM, a very big rank indeed in the Nigerian Air Force, talking about Air Vice Marshal Edward Gamkwet. Congratulations, sir. Yes, with me in the studio already in the guest to look at the issue of Southeast security and what the Nigerian Army should do. It's already my friend, the friend of Security Watch Africa, and also your friend, because most of you have actually commended him for his analysis. It's a pleasure to welcome Chimezie Anyadike. It's a pleasure to have you back in the studio. And happy New Year, really.
Same here, sir. Happy New Year to you.
We have seen, but we have interacted, but this is your first time on the program this year. It's a pleasure, and we're looking forward to a great time this year, both in our personal life and in our work lives. And I believe God will grant it for us. Yes, talking about the Southeast. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe your work kept you busy. Did you travel to the Southeast during the Utah season?
No, I didn't. I have a personal policy of not traveling during festive season, so I didn't bother at all.
Yeah, because sometimes one want to ask the question, why the craze? Because it seems to be a lot of stress and all that. The holidaying is not, those people say it's a time to felicitate with the loved ones. But I think that he can actually do that any time in the year.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Reviewing security in the Southeast the previous years, and particularly 2023, how would you describe how it was?
Southeast. Anyway, I think that one of the things I always tell my compatriots in the Southeast is that we need to admit that this is a homegrown problem. We supported it when we ought to have condemned it in strong terms, both those in government, those in socio-cultural groups, and other kinds of organizations. There were no voices of all these organizations that came out to keep condemning the activities of some of these. I call it, to me, they are hoodlums. They are criminals that have taken advantage of the situation to perpetrate a lot of criminality and a lot of crime and terror on the citizens. But I think that last year was an opportunity for the federal government, despite the fact that, of course, there was a transition in administration, and we need to have, give the government time to stabilize and all of that. But I believe that it was also an opportunity for government to study the situation and map out strategies to effectively stamp out some of these criminal gangs and all of that. That's just what they are. And if these policies, if these strategies had been implemented or start getting implemented, of course, there would be a lot of results. But very strangely, I don't know what happened. During the festive seasons, most of us did not hear, anything about the activities of some of these people, because one of the things we got to understand is that before you have any event, carry out any occasion, you must have to settle them. But the way our people traveled, streamed home, yes, in part with the federal government's free 50% rebate on transportation and all of that. But the way they just, should I say threw caution to the wind, or didn't even bother about the insecurity and just went, traveled in their thousands. And in all of that, nothing significant. Yes, there were some few pockets of insecurity, but what we envisaged, that there would be a lot of, that this is like, these guys would see this as an opportunity for them to, abduct people, conduct a lot of criminal activities. But strangely enough, nothing like that happened. Like the level of significance was so low that I personally kept asking questions that what really transpired. Was there any form of meeting or discussion or something? But that's in the realm of speculation.
Yeah, anyway. But could there have been that even they themselves were also celebrating too?
Yes, yes, I believe so. But when you have like envision the worst, that these guys might see all of you as very fattened, chicken for them to take advantage of and all of that. But strangely enough,
of course, that has been the Nigerian spirit most of the time, where a lot is expected, the worst is expected. You see that everything moves on smoothly, exactly. And it's kudos. But again, I think that gives credence to the fact that where you said that it's a homegrown problem, because which means solution was also found within them.
Exactly.
You understand? So
precisely.
Going forward, really, I think starting the year, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, went on a tour. I'm sure it was strategic, of the Southeast, starting with Enugu, then to Ebonyi. He crossed over to Abia State, going on the way to Ohafia, where they have their brigade, then came back and rounded it up in the heartland of the Southeast, which is Imo State, your own state, rounding it up there. And significantly, what he talked about is the need to abolish or to stop the sit at home. Yes. How will you describe this his visit or his movement?
I loved it, and I think it's very, very strategic. And bottom line is that what it simply shows is that this is not a problem that is difficult to stamp out. These, like I'll keep saying, these are just criminals that took advantage of the annoyance or the anger of our region against the former administration, and then it snowballed into a bigger problem. So these guys took the advantage to set up structures for their nefarious activities. But the visit of the Chief of Army Staff was very, very strategic and very, very important in the sense that, of course, to me, it's more like a show of force, if I should use that term. Like, all right, guys, I'm here. What do you guys think you can do, and all of that? And establishing that, that visit or the tour established the fact that with adequate security infrastructure, these guys would just, either get tired or just be gradually stamped out, depending on the level of implementation and strategy the security infrastructure of the country wishes to, implement. But I love that visit. I love the fact that he went to all the Southeast states one after the other, and then culminated the visit or the tour in my home state and met with my governor. I think it's a very strategic. I'm not privy to all the security details and discussions and all of that, but to me it's a very strategic move that shows that the federal government of Nigeria is more than willing and ready to protect, to defend and protect the lives and properties of her citizens. With that visit, I think it showed a resolve by the government to make sure that we are ready to address this problem. But we need all of you, we need everybody's hands to, come together to be able to effectively stamp this problem out.
Yes. When you look at it, apart from the mayhem, the adoption, the killing, the ritual activities, barbaric action by some of these hoodlums, like you call them. Some people have called them unknown government for various things, various names they are being called, or they call themselves being commanded from someone who is in Finland, and all those jargons that is happening there. I think in spite of all this, that the biggest challenge is actually this sit-at-home thing.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible to stop sit-at-home?
It's very,
because
very...
some states in the South is actually had maybe accepted it as a norm. They don't have programs on Mondays any longer.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Do you think it's possible to stop
it is very, very possible, but the challenge is that it has become more like a culture. It has metamorphosed into a cultural establishment, if I should say that, because most people in the Southeast are not eager to. They've extended the weekend to 3 days. So there is a 3-day weekend in the Southeast. Initially, they used to observe it out of fear, but right now it has metamorphosed into a norm. They relax. Nobody is even interested in. No matter what the government says about protection and all of that, it's not that they are afraid. They have gotten comfortable with it, and it has become a norm. When the Enugu State governor was sworn in, one of the first things he did was to stamp it out, with both persuasion and also force. But unfortunately, something that has become a way of life, you have to just define a proper implementation plan, give a timeline to gradually wean people of that kind of. But I believe of course, it was never how the region was. It gradually became a culture, so it can also be gradually phased out.
Because some people have said that runs contrary to the spirit of the Southeast of an Igbo man. Igbo man is an industrious man who does not think he should joke with his days. There's some that respects the weekend of Sundays based on the religious angle. Some don't mind to even open their stores on Sundays, but to make money. But now, Monday, is it not contrary to the spirit of the Igbo man?
It is very contrary, but like we said, fear. The psychology of fear has a way it works. It keeps you triggered at all times, and then when it is sustained, you now have to investigate. You now have to analyze and be like, okay, if this source of fear is removed, would this particular habit stop? You realize that it has become a condition. It has become a conditioned reaction. So even if you remove the source of fear, people are already used to 3 days, to a 3-day weekend. So, but like I said, it's something that if the government maps out a proper maybe 3 to 5 year plan, That's the Southeast governors.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the federal
The
government.
federal government.
So, you know, a 3 to 5 years plan of gradually, then give incentives and all of that. Over time, it will become a thing of the past.
Okay, even though we're getting signal to leave, but let me take this because the topic says, what can the Nigerian army do? We have seen the army showing signs that they want to help to restore. But I think that it's more of an internal security, which falls at the purview of the Nigeria police force. Don't you think police have a role to play here?
Of course they do, because they are tasked with internal security as well as law enforcement. And in a situation where there is lawlessness, it is their absolute responsibility to make sure that they counter it and sustain the atmosphere of law and order. But not being able to do that means that, of course, there has to be more investment into their capacity to ensure that that happens.
Okay, so the army is just giving rendering a helping hand to the police.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. On that, we've come to the end of today's program. It's a pleasure having you on this wonderful first.
Thank you very much.
You have been on the program this first Saturday for you, and we hope to have you subsequent edition. Thanks for joining us on this program. It's been exciting bringing this program. Join us again next week when we'll bring you another exciting program. Thanks for staying tuned. Bye for now.